Hello, and welcome to the Whole Loaf, a holistic approach to building strong relationships and healthy lives, or I don't know, building healthy lives and strong relationships. It's something like that, but welcome to the Whole Loaf. My name is Paul Bertzloff. I am here with Deborah Murray, food stylist to the stars and author of 17 different cookbooks. And I can assure you tonight we have another fantastic meal planned for you. You know, last week we made what? It was bread pudding.
Oh yeah, the croissant bread pudding with the bourbon sauce.
Excellent. I was eating off that bread pudding for like 2 days. That was phenomenal. So what do you have brewing for us tonight?
All right, so it's October, Paul, and October makes me think apples. It makes me think harvest, and nothing goes better than apples but pork chops.
Pork chops.
So we're gonna do braised pork chops tonight with apples and onions, and oh, it's gonna be so delicious.
Fall is in the air here in Florida, right? It's down to like 89 degrees and only 90% humidity. But yeah, so a nice fall meal here, pork chops.
It's gonna be delicious.
So you know, okay, when I first heard that we were making pork chops, okay, the very first thing that came to my mind was that slogan that started all the way back in 1987. Anybody, you know what I'm talking about? The slogan ran for 18 years. Pork, the other white meat, right? I mean, 87% of consumers identified that slogan as pork, the other white meat. Yeah. Go ahead.
And I think that they were calling it the other white meat, obviously, to make it popular.
Yeah.
But not because just it's white in color, but because they were saying it's a lean source of protein, correct?
Yeah.
I mean, that was what they were trying to convince people to just eat chicken.
So that bacon I eat in the morning, that's lean protein?
No.
Is that the other white meat?
No, that's not.
Yeah, I love that bacon. But anyway, you know, so it's interesting because that whole slogan, it started in order to make pork more popular.
Right.
All right, so it was, you know, chicken and turkey, they were viewed as being the white meat. They were viewed as being the healthy source of protein.
Right.
So, I mean, is pork really, is this alternative facts? Is that what we're dealing with, or is it really kind of healthy?
Well, it's a loaded question because, like, we were talking about the eggs too. I mean, all the things that are considered bad, next thing you know, are health food. But in pork case, like if you're buying pork loin, which is very, very lean, like what we're gonna have tonight, it's very good for you. It's low in calorie, it's low in fat. But you take the pork butt, and we're talking about the same animal, but it's got a ton of fat. And that's not, and bacon, those aren't and ham, those are things we love, but those are not the other white meat.
I love bacon.
Those are the pink and brown ones.
You know, it's like, so remember eggs? Eggs were bad for you, then they were good for you.
Right.
Chocolate was bad for you, then it's good for you.
Yes.
Coffee was bad for you, and now it's good for you. I mean, so here we are. And so the question is, okay, you ready for this?
Yeah.
Do we turn toward pork, or do you turn away from pork? Yeah. And if we're going to build healthy relationships, do you turn toward the person you're trying to build a healthy relationship with, or do you turn away from that person? And so we're going to challenge you tonight as we are braising. This is braising, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Now, what we're actually doing right now is we're searing. I got to get our technique straight.
Okay.
What searing is, Paul, is where we get that beautiful dark caramel color on the outside.
Okay.
It makes a nice crust, but it's locking in the juices. When we braise, once we've seared these chops, by adding a little acid or add a little liquid and putting a cover on it, it'll take tough, lean pieces of meat and make them just like butter.
Okay, so what you did here, that's just olive oil?
Olive oil,
on high heat.
little salt,
searing.
pepper, high heat. I didn't make room for my pork chop, so I'm gonna, one will be less colorful than the other.
All right, very good. So right now we are turning toward pork. Right?
We are.
And so what I want to encourage you to do is turn toward the people in your life. Those people that you want to build strong, healthy relationships with, you need to turn toward each other. And when I say turn toward each other, I mean, I'm just talking about the simple little things. Like Deb and I just sat here for a few moments and we were just chit-chatting. I mean, chit-chatting is extremely powerful. Right. In fact, there's research out of the University of Washington that basically shows that couples that just kind of chit-chat with each other, they just kind of share their day with each other, kind of decompress after coming home from work, that they report higher marital satisfaction. They're happy.
Yeah, they're friends.
Yes, they're friends. They build on each other. And so the couples that don't do that, well, they struggle even more. And so like when it comes to turning toward each other, you know, we need to understand that even the small moments, those small moments of connecting with each other has this enormous, this huge impact on building strong, healthy relationships.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean it does, doesn't it? I mean it makes sense. So those small moments of connection have an extremely large impact.
Give me an example of a small moment of connection.
Like a small moment of connection. Say you go to the grocery store and your spouse says, you know, hey, do we have bleach at home? And maybe you respond and say, I'm not sure, but I'll run down the aisle and get some bleach. Okay, that's showing a small connection.
Right.
Or just walking in the door and spending a few moments decompressing about work. I mean, that is a connection. I mean, in fact, even going to the grocery store. Okay, like I absolutely positively detest going to the grocery store. I mean, I really do. I don't like it one bit. And yet every week I find myself in the grocery store, and all it is a moment of connection with my wife.
You know, Martin's favorite part was checking out and reading all the garbage magazines.
All the garbage magazines he went out. So see, he went to the grocery store with you. So anyway, real quick, I know we're searing the pork chops right now. So when do you think people will stop eating ground pork?
I have a head.
When pigs fly. You get it? Ground pork, pigs flying. I know.
I love that
small moment of connection. Just time for us to connect and just kind of horse around, chit chat, and play with each other.
I love it. That's
awesome. Very good. So how are these looking here?
So they're looking really good. See how we're getting some beautiful deep color. Color is flavor. Do you realize that? Like in your brain gets excited when it's getting heat, sweet, salty, and acidic. But they've also found that the caramelization, the flavor from that is also something that will stimulate the brain. It'll go, this is delicious. Okay. So this is not just an added step for texture, but it's also an added step for flavor.
Yeah. You know, it was interesting. I did a little bit of reading. I knew we were making pork chops. And so some of the reading I did on pork was saying that you want it to be red. Right. So the deeper the red, the more flavorful it is. That if you buy pork in the store and it's white, that it's not nearly as flavorful.
Right.
Yeah.
And the darker, the redder meats there's probably even more fat marbling to that part too.
Okay.
But I always like to buy them with the bone on too.
Yeah.
The reason for the bone on is not to make it less expensive, but that bone is going to add collagen, which will also add flavor to what we're cooking.
Oh, okay. So you want the steaks then? So you like the T-bone, you want the bone in instead of the bone out.
I would. And I mean, not if I'm doing it on a barbecue grill.
Yeah.
On a barbecue grill, you're not getting any collagen out of it. It is going to be harder. But if I'm going to pan-sear, a pan-sear bone-in porterhouse, the flavor that you're going to get is just amazing.
Okay. Very good. So see, when you turn towards somebody, it's just those humdrum moments. I mean, Hollywood, if you really think about it.
Right.
Hollywood blows it out of proportion, don't they? I mean, they make it so unrealistic. I mean, when you think of those like turn toward moments, those big moments, those romantic, passionate moments in Hollywood, I mean, you think of Jack and Rose on the bow of the Titanic, don't you? I can fly. Or you think of Jerry Maguire. Remember? Oh, come on, you know that line. Remember that line from Jerry Maguire? Remember it? Come on, say it along with me. You complete me. Right?
Right.
Yeah. Exactly. So when we think of connecting with somebody, we think of those big kind of Hollywood moments. And you know what? That's false. Okay, that it is. It is a lie. It's those humdrum, everyday kind of moments when you show value.
Right.
Okay, when you show the other person that you value them, that you value their opinion, you value their time. Yep. It's just like making that eye contact. It's just turning toward you.
And I can think of so many different times in my marriage when I'd watch some of those movies and then think, oh my gosh, like, why aren't we like that? Until I remember thinking, well, it's not what real life is all about. Real life is holding hands or someone paying for popcorn or picking you up a coffee. It's not what, and then you feel dissatisfied when you watch those movies because you don't think you measure up.
Oh yeah, I mean the same thing is true with social media, right? I mean we see all the big grand moments of someone's life, and you don't see the day-to-day kind of moments.
I'm a big
so what happens is we have this unrealistic expectation of our spouse or of our loved ones, and so to turn towards somebody. Let me kind of give you an example. Like, to turn towards somebody, let's just say you're sitting in the living room and you're both reading a magazine. Right. And one of you says, hey, look at the Goodyear blimp going by. Okay, if you even look up at the Goodyear blimp and say, oh, yeah, that's nice. You know what? That's actually a turn toward it, right? Because you're acknowledging them. You're recognizing them. You've made a statement to them.
Right.
Like, if you never took your face out of the book, well, that's a turn away. Okay, and what's really kind of interesting is couples that are struggling, okay, if you don't turn towards somebody, when they bid for you, you don't turn toward them, 0% chance of them rebidding. So 0% chance of them coming back and trying to bid again for your attention. I mean, even in good relationships, you know, if you bid for their attention and they don't give it to you, in a good relationship, only 22% of the time will they bid again. And so it's important.
Yeah.
I mean, those humdrum, everyday kind of living moments are important in order to turn your head, you know, and to acknowledge somebody. Those turn toward bids.
And I do think that our phones are some of they can be so hard. And I know myself, I've even gotten to the point where I'll have the phone, I'll be doing something important, I know someone's sitting there, and I'll just go, no, I'm putting it down. You know, I value this person more than that.
Okay, so can you hear us talking over all the sizzling? I mean, you can hear it, right? I mean, you can hear it sizzling. You should be able to smell this. This is great. So what did you put in there?
All right, so I love onions and apples with my pork. Okay. And I mean, they're going to caramelize in here. They're going to build the flavor. I had some fresh thyme, and I take the thyme leaves off by just going backwards on the stem and just sprinkle them in there. The pork only has salt and pepper on it, but the next two things are going to make all the difference in all the flavor.
Okay, very good.
I'm going to add a little honey.
Ooh.
I'm going to drizzle some honey on here, and it just goes so beautiful with the apples. It works back with the onions. But my favorite part is the aged balsamic reduction. We're going to add some balsamic vinegar in there.
Okay, so aged balsamic reduction. I've got no idea in the world what that is.
All right, so here's balsamic vinegar.
Okay.
Let me show you the precision. Balsamic vinegar is a very sweet and yet savory, deep-colored vinegar. It's excellent with pork.
Okay.
See how runny that is?
Yes.
Okay, this would cost like $6.
Okay.
Now, to make this, you would need a lot of these. So normally when you buy a oak reduction bottle like that, like this could cost like $20.
Okay.
You only use a little drizzle on your mozzarella ball, a little bit on your, so a little goes a long ways. This is what we can afford in the grocery store, and we put it on everything.
Okay.
But you can make your own just by reducing this.
Okay, so it's like, condensed. Okay, yeah.
Now all I'm going to do, Paul, is I'm going to add in my very favorite part. Now, I want you to take a sip.
Take a sip.
I was working in Minnesota for many years. It's Honeycrisp apple cider. And Honeycrisps are just amazing.
Nice bouquet.
Yes, a
good
beautiful
legs.
bouquet.
Good legs on
Great
that.
legs on there.
Look at the clarity of that. That's
Isn't
beautiful.
that beautiful?
Yeah. Okay, what am I drinking?
It's just Honeycrisp apple cider. They didn't spike it. Isn't that yummy? Yep. So now all I'm going to do, Paul, is I'm going to put the lid on. It's going to trap all those juices. I'm going to put it in a 425 oven for about 25 to 30 minutes. 40 won't even hurt it. And that pork chop's going to be tender as butter. And all of those flavors are just going to all work together and make a beautiful sauce. Yes. We're going to serve it with some purple cabbage. And you're going to think, my goodness, thank goodness it's fall.
I am glad fall is upon us.
Isn't that
this
fun?
looks absolutely delicious. So how much of the apple cider did you put?
All right, so I put about a quarter cup of apple cider
so not a lot.
in there. Not a lot, because what I don't want to do is I'm not making a soup. Like, here's the done product. All right, see how there's not tons of the sauce. See how it's sticking beautifully to the plate? I'm going to have you take a little fork and take a little taste of it.
Of this right here?
Yes, I made the purple cabbage. Now, the braised purple cabbage, I use Wolfgang Puck's recipe. I worked for Wolfgang for many years.
Bam! Right?
No, that's
okay, I'm sorry.
But he's good friends of Wolf's too. But it's a beautiful recipe. I'm going to post it, give him credit to it. It's my absolute favorite. I can't work. Isn't that nice? Because usually pork, the other white meat, can be tougher than the breast meat. That's like butter. It
is. It's excellent. It is very good. So, you know, going back to the turn toward, so we're turning toward these great pork chops. You know, so if you want to turn toward and build those strong, healthy relationships, you know, it is the basis. Turning toward somebody, it is the basis of emotional connection. It's the basis of romance, of good communication. It's the basis of good loving. All right, so just simply turning toward someone. I mean, it is extremely powerful. And when you turn toward somebody, you know, you're staying emotionally engaged with them.
Right.
You know, and so when you stay emotionally engaged with someone, when they feel connected to you, it's just like putting currency into an emotional bank account, I guess you could say.
I like how you said that.
Yeah, because, you know, it's like you're just making a deposit into that emotional bank account, because when the tough times come, you know, and they will, in any relationship, there are difficult times.
Right.
And when those tough times come, if you've got that emotional bank account, they'll give you the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
You know, they kind of have this positive sentiment override where they'll be looking at the relationship in a positive manner instead of in a negative manner.
Exactly.
And so that is extremely powerful. Okay, and so, you know, the secret to connecting with somebody is not going to the Bahamas and staying at the Sandals Resort for 2 weeks, although I would like that if anybody, you know, but anyway. It's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea to go to Sandals.
You mean Suzanne, we could download a cooking show, not a bad idea.
But the secret to connecting with somebody is not running away on a long vacation, but it's those little moments of the day. It's going to the grocery store. It's folding clothes with each other. It's making a quick telephone call or even a quick text at work.
Right.
Okay, those are the powerful moments. Just to call and say, hey, I was just thinking about you. Hope you're having a great day.
Those are huge things.
Yeah, you know, some of the research out of the University of Washington says that couples often ignore each other's emotional need, not out of our need out of mindlessness, not out of malice. So we end up doing it out of mindlessness. We just don't think about it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and just, you know, and so, I mean, here's what I would encourage you to do, okay? I got a couple things. You want to build up, and we're teaching you how to build a good dinner here, right? But we also want you to build good relationships. And so one, be aware of how crucial these small moments are. Just be aware of it, all right? And make the most out of it. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 says, encourage one another and build each other up. And one of the ways that you can do that is one, recognize those small moments. Make the most out of every opportunity to build the other person up. All right? The other thing I would encourage you to do is reunite at the end of the day. Okay, you know, when you both come home at nighttime, make sure you just spend some time together. I mean, once again, this is University of Washington saying how powerful it is to reunite at the end of the day. Okay, now timing is everything, right? You know, like some people, I when I come home from work, I just need to decompress just for about a half hour. Okay, after about a half hour, I can delve in and help the kids with homework. I can do whatever it is. But, you know, you need to decompress for a little bit. Yeah. Okay, so you got to figure that out for whatever couple, you know, I mean, but timing is everything. And then here's what I challenge you to do. Spend 20 to 30 minutes every night just reuniting, just connecting, talking about your day. We're not talking about your relationship. You're talking about like, hey, how did your day go today?
Right. Okay,
you know, what went on? Just, you know, kind of connecting with each other. And if you're gonna spend 20 minutes doing it, each person has like 10 minutes of talking. Okay, so I mean, you need to share the time, right? And then it's this opportunity for us to be able to support each other. It's this opportunity for us to encourage each other. And so I encourage you, you know, at those times, be empathetic.
Yeah.
We need to be empathetic with people, all right? And so here's what I would encourage you to do. So like if you have those nights and you're gonna reunite with each other, take turns. Okay, take turns in sharing with each other. Guys, especially the guys, right? Do not give unsolicited advice. I'm guilty of this, you know, and every now and then I get really good at it, and I say, oh, honey, do you want me to help fix it, or do you just want me to listen?
Right.
And 99% of the time, she'll simply say, I just want you to listen, right? I mean, communicate your understanding, okay? So we're talking about, like, you know, active listening. You know, you make eye contact, you communicate, like, I'm hearing you, I understand you. You want to make this, it's us against them.
Right.
Okay? And whatever you do, you always side with your spouse. You always side with the one you're in a relationship with. So if your, you know, significant other comes back home and says, you know, I can't believe it, the boss chewed me out for being late. You don't side with the boss. Okay? Don't say, yeah, well, you deserve to be chewed out for being late. No.
You do like to be
That's
here.
right. That's right. Yeah, you got to validate them, all right? And so even if their expectations kind of seem unrealistic, once again, timing is everything. You want to encourage them. You want to express emotion. You want to validate what they're feeling and what they're going through. And you always take their side. You know, so it's
That's a great advice in any relationship.
Yeah.
You know, I know with my daughter, when she's talking about stuff from her work and stuff, like I've had several times where I've actually gone against her, and it's like,
oh yeah, no, you never want to do that. Never want
to. You know, and as a mother, you're like, well, were you there on time? Yeah. Or something's not, but you're right.
And you know, and we always mess it up, don't we? I mean, we always, I do it all the time. I'm preaching to the choir kind of thing. You know, and so St. Paul tells us in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 32, be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving one another, just as in Christ God forgave you. And so we need to be kind and compassionate to each other. You know, it was my wife, she was kind of kind and compassionate to me the other day. I tried to make some slow-cooked pork, but I forgot to plug the crock pot in before I went to work. And so when I came home, my wife, she gave me the cold shoulder. You get it? Pork shoulder. Ah, come on, that's funny. That's funny. You know it's funny out there, huh?
They're awesome.
You know it's funny.
It is outstanding.
And so anyway, so we got this cooking in the oven.
Pork. We're gonna put it in the oven for half hour. We've got our purple cabbage done. Now you've got your cider. Now we can
This is it.
decompress.
Now we can
be in the
decompress.
moment.
We can chit chat. We can turn toward each other.
Exactly.
You know, one last fact I want to share with you. What do you call an upscale restaurant that specializes in pork? Swine dining. Swine dining. Yep. Anyway, hey, I want to encourage you. Go ahead. Make sure you turn toward each other. Be aware of how crucial those small moments of everyday life, those humdrum moments are. Make sure you reunite at the end of the day and just watch your relationship grow stronger. Hey, you have a great day and God bless.
Keep cooking.